Everyone.
Good morning.
We are glad you're here. We love to meet with you every morning. Thank you for joining us. We'll have people in chat eventually, but we love to have you give your opinions and add to our conversation. Thank you for joining us again. I'm Calista Randolph-Nichols.
And I'm Jeff Nichols, and we've been married 16 years, 16 and a half years, and we've had our ups and downs, but what relationship doesn't? So,
we are about you, and we care about your marriage. We don't have a perfect marriage. It's perfect for us, but, some may not consider it perfect. We aren't experts, but that doesn't mean that we can't pray for your marriage. And, we are experts in that. We have been married for 16 and a half years. So, nothing saying that I have a doctor behind my name, but because of the length of time we've served together, I feel like we do have a few good tidbits to add. So with that, we will get started. Be right back.
I can't wait to see you and hold you in my arms. I can't wait for the memories we'll keep inside our hearts. I can't wait, 'cause I've been missing you for oh so long. I can't wait, can't wait. See, I've been missing you.
All right, that is us, friends of your marriage, and we love to help you, to pray for you. So if there's prayer that you need, please feel free to ask for it in the chat. And we got a little chat going on. Oh, it is Mr. Rudge. He says, good morning, y'all. Good morning, Mark and Sandy.
Good morning.
Family. Okay. And with that, we will get our video started. This is a live interactive streaming marriage support group. Please join the chat and feel free to add any comments that you have. We love to chat with everyone.
For discussion, this is a series-focused topic. Today's topic is on love, exploring the question, is love enough to save a marriage? That is a question that we're going to pose here this morning, and we will go from there.
Okay. And we are going to bring our guests in so you can meet our guests. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Welcome to our broadcast. This is Scott and Aisha Dooley. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves and what you do for a living, and plug your business if you've got it.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, yeah, I'm Scott Dooley. I'm a youth director over at New City Church. So I work with middle school and high school students. That's what I do full time throughout the week. Lots of fun, just planning different events and thinking of different strategies on how to reach our young people. So yeah, I'm excited about. We've got a movie night tonight, so
oh, fun
time, yeah.
I'm Aisha Dooley. I'm Scott's wife. For a living, I'm a licensed realtor, so I'm all about the real estate life. So I help clients buy and sell their homes. Some clients that have their investors, so they do have rental properties and things of that nature as well. So, and we've been married for a year, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Was it the
Cool.
11th or something?
The fourth.
Yeah.
The 4th. Okay. I saw that you had some posts that you'd been married for a year, and so you're still in the honeymoon phase.
The
Yeah.
newlywed. The newlywed.
1 year down, young married.
When we were practicing for choir one morning, I know that you had just come back from the youth camp, and first thing, he hadn't seen her for like I don't know, a week or 2 weeks, however long that was, but he walked right up to her and gave her a big old kiss. He missed her so much.
I really did. And it was only just a few days. Not even a full week. But
I was shocked because I was sitting out in there was nobody in the auditorium, and you made a beeline right up to her and kissed her, and everybody else was like, "Where's ours?" and stuff. So.
I know. Everyone was like, "Whoa, we're here too."
We have a couple of chats here.
Yeah.
Sandy says good morning too. Good morning, Sandy. We love you.
And Sandy.
And
Mark.
Mark says the Dooleys are amazing folks.
Oh, thanks,
thank
guys.
you, Mark and Sandy. You guys are amazing people too.
Okay, now we are going to do what we call, oh wait, we got a few fun facts here. Give us a minute.
Did you know within a sample of divorcing parent endorsed reason for divorce from a list of possible choices were growing apart, 55%, and not being able to talk together, 53%. So this
Wow.
is a sample of divorcing parents. Well, I didn't know it. I know some divorced couples, but none here recently that I'm aware of.
Yeah. You know, the thing about growing
Bless
apart. Yeah.
Sorry.
The thing about growing apart is, you know, everyone kind of goes through a phase, but you've got to work through that, and you have to purpose to be loving, and you have to purpose in your relationship. You know, you can't just get married, put it in a closet, and then the next time you want to be a married folk, you pull it out of the closet and oh, everything's just fine. You really have to work on a marriage, and it gets a little, I don't know, easier or harder depending on who you are as you are married longer, because sometimes you can take that other person for granted. Yeah.
I'm always kind of amazed, not amazed, not even shocked. It's this kind of disheartening. I've known a couple of people who had some long time marriage. They've been married like 25, and I think another couple was married like 30 years, and then they fell apart. And I was, didn't have the heart to go up and ask what was the problem, but within my mind, I was like, wow, this is some long time that you guys had together. What was a final straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak? So but no one's perfect, but we're perfect, made in God. So
yeah,
and our marriage is perfect in God as well. We made a commitment to God to love an imperfect person for the rest of our lives too. So
but we were reminded that we're perfectly made. So
we are perfectly made. Yes. Okay.
Okay, it's time for Who Knows Best. If you guys have a sheet of paper, we're going to ask a couple questions. It's a couples discussion game. Couples answer questions for themselves and then for their spouses. Then they see which one knows the other best. And people out there on the chat, you can join as well. So the first question is...
Okay, so what you want to do, though, remember, is you're going to answer the question how you would answer it. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to answer how you think your spouse will answer.
Okay.
So, and don't cheat. Don't cheat.
Can't look at your notes. I'm not looking to promise.
Okay. How often do you say I love you to your spouse?
A few times each day. B, about once a day. C, at least once a week. Or D, I don't say it often enough to remember. How often do you say I love you to your spouse? Let's see. You want to go first, Calista? You want Scott or Aisha?
Let's let our guests go first.
Okay.
Not to put you on the spot, but
No, it's okay. I said A. He says it a lot of times a day. So, and I said for me, I probably say it about once per day.
Okay. And Scott, how did you answer that?
We're spot on. I said A. I say it a few times a day. And for Aisha, she's usually like once a day, like either when we're going up to work or when we're going to bed.
Wow. So you both got those points. Each of you got a point. So you're knowing each other pretty good right now. Well, I said a few times a day for me. And I also said a few times a day for you.
correct. That's what I put to A.
Nice.
I know that I usually say I love you before I'll go to work. And, if we're having a discussion, I'll say it. So we try to make a point of saying I love you so that our son can hear it, so that, he can not be ashamed to express his feelings. So
Good.
And in our chat, we have A for both of us, because after 9 years, we still say it constantly.
yeah, Mark said that. Great.
Yeah.
Beautiful, Mark. Yeah.
All right. Our next question is,
Which traumatic situation would be most difficult to work through together? One of you being addicted to drugs. B, both losing all source of income. C, one being falsely accused and imprisoned. And D, one being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So again, which traumatic situation would be most difficult to work through together? Being addicted to drugs, alcohol, being both losing all sources of income, one being falsely accused and imprisoned, or being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I think this is a question we had before. So I'm going to, are you ready?
no, not quite.
You're ready to answer these.
In our chat, Mark says, Sandy says it first oftentimes, so I've got some catching up to do. Talking about the last question. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Okay, go ahead, Jeffrey.
I think that for me, I said D, and I think for you, you would say D as well, because I think we had this question before, like I said, and we've been working through most of these, well, except for C, and like D would be D for us. And I have my mom in our home, and she has Alzheimer's and stuff. And over the last few years, to see your loved one go through mental and physical aspects, and there isn't really much that you can do, or what I've seen for, like with my mother, just caring for her and being her caretaker. And, she doesn't remember who we are most of the time. I think that would be the hardest if I was in our time left, if that was to occur. That would be, I think for me, it'd be devastating, but, we have some experience with it. But That's what I chose. So
Yeah.
I think D would be both for us.
I said the same thing for both of us, and I think that's because that's what we're dealing with his mother. It's so difficult to watch the changes happen, and then she doesn't remember us, so that's just difficult, and I'm sure it's even more difficult for Jeff, being that it's his mother, and she she doesn't even really know. We're just here to help. And I think the hardest part is, a doctor quite some time ago, because my stepdad had this also and passed away from it several years ago. But the doctor, when we first had him diagnosed, said, the hardest part is not what they go through, because they don't remember what they don't remember. The hardest part is for the families, because the families, struggle through every change that goes on, and watching them decline. And there's really nothing that you can do, but pray for them. And so I think I said D for both of us as well. So how about you guys, Dooley's?
I guess I could go first this time. So I said B, just for both of us. I think that financial stability is something that's important to us. So I think though we would do what we needed to do, find that financial stability that we needed to, because we both are just willing to do what we need to for our family. I do think it'd be a tough time, and we would just have to work through like all that and be able to find what we needed to do to be able to be financially stable again.
Yeah.
You answered it.
You said for both of us B?
I did. I said for both of us B.
I said A for me and B for him. I figured he'd think B. But I almost put B, but the reason I did not is because I've actually been in a relationship where somebody's had a drug addiction, and it's not just the effect on like the relationship, it's with the kids. So I think it's really tough when you can't really explain why they don't care. It's because they're addicted to something. So it's not them not really caring, it's just them in a different environment. So I do know it's hard when people get into that, and then that causes more issues. Now you can't financially support yourself, and nobody can keep up with you. You can't even have a phone call with you because you're just not worried about that. So I know that can cause a hard impact, and then you want to be there for that person, but then like also it's like, well, this person isn't here for us, so you just always don't know what to do when you're in that situation. So
Yep, I understand that as well. It is hard because, it's when you get into drug or alcohol addictions, it's a family disease. It's just everything in your life is affected by it. There's nothing that isn't touched. It's such an insidious disease. So, that's very true.
Right.
Okay, let's see what Mark has said here. You gonna read it?
Yep, Mark said all are tough. I think the heartache and expense of Alzheimer's would be horrible. In prison would be nearly as bad, but without the failing functions of Alzheimer's. So that's what Mark put.
Yeah. They all are not great choices.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to
None of us want to go through any of them.
or most difficult.
Right?
Well, that would lead to like one of our question Bible verses, like love is long suffering. So, we'll have to pray about it and find the support to get through it.
Yeah.
So our next question, if you want a free all expense paid home improvement for one of the homes listed, which room would you choose? A, the bathroom, B, the bedroom, C, the kitchen, or the living room? An all expense paid home improvement, well, which one of your rooms would you want to be done first, I guess? I don't think we're going to agree on this one, but
Are you guys ready?
I am. I don't know if we just talked about we just talked about this, but we honestly I feel like we would do our basement first, but if after the basement there is something that we talked about, that would probably be next. So are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. You're ready.
Okay. I picked C for both of us, the kitchen.
What'd you do, Scott?
I did A for her, the bathroom, because we did talk about this actually too, where she wants, especially like for us to be able to have this bathroom that kind of has everything that she wants within it, like a tub and all that, And I think that just having that all put together just, raises the value of the home. Not that the kitchen doesn't either, but
that's for the basement, babe.
I know, right? So that's why I brought that up, because I think it kind of, I put kitchen because I love being in the kitchen. It's so great, and like Mark said, like I love to cook. He loves to cook, so we spend a lot of our time in the kitchen too.
What do you like to cook?
Everything. I actually like to grill probably more, so it's actually funny that I put kitchen, because I'm not actually. I do cook in the kitchen.
Yeah, you can
right.
You're
in the kitchen and all that. But yeah, I love to grill. I like to just do steaks or like stuff in the Instapot, all those different things. So
yeah.
He makes most of the food for Thanksgiving, so I do more of the he bakes too, so yeah, he does most of the foods for Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, I guess some year I need to start pitching in.
Nah, us girls don't need to cook if they're willing.
It's like that for us too. I mean, I like
caramelized sweet potato recipes.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's like us. I like to cook and grill as well. And matter of fact, not to boast, but I got some ribs that are marinating now. I haven't decided if I want to grill them or make them slow cook all day. So that's my process. So, but for our answers, I think for her, well, seriously, we've had these thought process what we were going to do at one point in our house, and I think for her, I would put she would want to do the bedroom first, and for me, I want to do the living room. And actually, we got so much clutter. We're not hoarders, but we definitely got to get rid of some stuff. So
we went from me living here alone, and then Jeff and I got married, and all his stuff came. And then we moved his mom in, so then her stuff came too. So we just got packed to the gills.
Well, yeah, but, we had Jay. We had Jay in September, which is like his birthday is next week. Matter of fact, we went from having him in September and then moving my mom in November within a 2-month period, and so we have stuff in our house from like 3 households. Mine when I was single, my mom's stuff, what I brought that I wanted, and Calista's stuff. And we kept saying we were gonna, well, my neighbor just got a new dumpster. I was like, maybe we can throw some stuff in there before they get started. But we're not gonna do that, but so
funny.
What did you put?
So I put we totally failed this one. I put kitchen, and I thought you would say bathroom. So I put kitchen because we have kitchen cabinets and everything, and I would love to open up the kitchen because our kitchen is so small. It's like an alleyway, and I would love to open up our kitchen and use the cabinets that we got, but we haven't done it yet. We've just been too much going on, And I thought you'd say bathroom because he's always cursing the bathroom. So we miserably failed that one, baby.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would like both of them done, but you know, when you said kitchen, I thought about it. Yeah, it is kind of small, and I don't know about you, Scott, but when I prepare stuff, I put stuff right here. I want it in a certain way, and Calista would come in and she'll bump me, and no, you're throwing me off course. You know, it's a little love tap, but I'm working here, so
It's the other way around. I'm that way like you. I like my stuff this way. Then he comes in, oh yeah, I need to start seasoning this meat. It's like, excuse me, this area is what I was using.
I know. It's like this morning when I was preparing the ribs and stuff, and I, you know, got my little thing going, and she came in and was making coffee, and I'm like, come on, I need to get the spices and stuff. Why are you making coffee now? You know, I will make it if you ask me, because I can just, get in my groove with that. But you know, it's funny, and I have to check myself sometimes because it's really not a big deal. But you know, I get that tunnel vision. I'm like, do not interrupt me, please. Let me get this done, and then we can do whatever. So
somehow we work through it.
Yes, we've worked through it. Yes, I've learned to be silent and not speak. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes.
We can learn as husbands sometimes.
Mark said we're both cooks, so kitchen, new fancy toys. Yeah.
Nice.
That doesn't surprise me, right?
Yeah.
All right. So how'd you guys do?
Well, we got the last two wrong. We got 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3.
Hey, I think that's with us. That seems to be the the last few broadcasts that we had with people. It seems like 1 out of 3 seems to be,
I think we got 2 this time though.
Oh, 2?
I think we got 2 this time. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's amazing. And usually he wins and I don't. I don't know what that's about, but he gets more right than I do. I don't know. Okay. We are going to look at a couple of videos and here I'm going to read this chat from Mark.
Mark says 2 of 3 tragedy questions tripped us up.
I know. That was a rough one. That tragedy question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
This is Friends of Your Marriage. Learn about the primary principles. We're going to watch this video and look for which principle stands out for you.
We had to travel the world of our past to realize it was harder before cause we weren't by each other's side. Maybe it took a little longer to know together we're stronger. That's the way our love survived. Now we've gone through the fire. Love will take us higher, higher than it was before we went through love and war. See the promised land, walking hand in hand. Now that we can understand what we were fighting for, fighting for love, love, fighting for
Right. Anything in those principles that stuck?
I don't. There's a few of them. I don't.
Yeah, there's several, right? I should have warned you. I was going to ask. We can move along. That's not a problem. The one for me, I think, is praying for each other and praying for marriage. So that's a big one for me.
I did see honor your marriage. I like that one too. So
Yeah.
We want people to join in and meet our hosts. We have others who do this as well, broadcast with us. We have the Sloans on Monday evenings. They're at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which would be 7 p.m. Central. And then the Jamals, they're on Tuesday evenings at 7 Central. And then we here Saturday mornings at 10. And the Rudges are talk contributors that join in from time to time and help us with our broadcasts.
We got a chat here. Oh, let's see here. Dr. Jamal says,
"Hey family, good to see you everyone. Thanks for joining in, Dr. Aaron."
Hey, good morning.
And I think Miss Margaret is also on, and she says, "Hi family."
hello.
Good morning.
And Aaron says to the Jamals, "Good morning." So
Rudge,
the Rudges, Mark. What did I say?
Aaron.
Oh, okay. I made a mistake.
There you go.
Complete your assignments. Choose a day and time that you can commit to working on your assignments. Do your best to stay dedicated. If you go to https://idome2.org, we have assignments that we do that go over Bible verses, to get us not acquainted, but just to get us in a repetition of one, getting into the word, and then having scripture readily available in case we go through life's experiences and stuff, And I have definitely found that this works for me, because when I feel like I'm being attacked by either the enemy or life itself, or someone that, some scripture when I turn it over and give it to God, something will come into my head that will help me deal with a certain situation that I may be going through. So it has definitely helped for us to do this. We don't do it together most of the time, but I think we're going to start.
Yeah, and these help. It is really about repetition too. It helps you memorize the verses so that when you run into the bumps that you will in life, you have those verses to fall back on. You have, and you have them memorized so that you can call up God's promises to us and remember, the verse to fall back on.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have a couples Bible study to build strong and healthy marriages. We're going to watch this little short video of struggling in marriage.
You may be struggling in your marriage, feeling unhappy, or even feel that there's just something missing. Or you just might appreciate your marriage so much that you want to build upon and sustain what you already have. What we've discovered is that there are biblical principles that help break bondages that keep us from enjoying a happy and fruitful marriage. Our couples Bible study explores the meaning behind scriptures according to specific topics. The Bible study questions help couples to seek the answers that address their own specific needs and concerns. Remember that building and maintaining a happy and healthy marriage is not a destination, but a wonderful and rewarding journey. Now, let's continue this journey with our next lesson.
Okay, 1 Corinthians 13:4-5 out of the New King James Version. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, and love thinks no evil.
All right. Okay. So,
Question 1. What is love to you? What is love to you? What is love to you guys? Aisha?
Yeah, well, we can both kind of just speak to this, but yeah, love really, well, of course, God is love. I think that is, important starting point for us to think about love, because us as people, like, I mean, we have different ideas of love, and in our culture, there's a lot of ideas of love, but I don't think any one of us knows like perfect love. God is perfect love, so starting there is super important. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's love is more than just a simple emotion or a feeling towards someone, or you hear people say like, "I'm falling in love with you," or "I fell in love," which I think I can get the connotation of that, like being so infatuated with someone that like you like are head over heels with someone, like, oh man, I love this person. But I have seen it more and more as like a decision, like choosing to love someone. We choose to, like, off the bat when you first meet someone, you might really like this person, but some of those steps that you take, I want to get to know this person more. I want to be able to help out this person. Those are steps towards love, and continuing to choose that each and every day. That's a choice, especially in marriage. It's important to choose love. So, yeah, that's for me, I guess, what I would say love is. What you did.
I agree.
excuse me a moment. Jaden, turn it down. Sorry.
Sorry, our son changed the channel and it got really loud in here. So
Get Saturday morning cartoons in.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. For me, I'm right there along with Scott. For me, love is a choice. It's something that you do have to choose to exercise every day, and love is not just in word, it's in deed as well, because you can say something, but until you actually do it, it can be, you can talk all you want to talk, but until you give me a little proof, then sometimes it could be difficult to believe in that, and I think that love rejoices and it celebrates with you in the times that you have. But you're absolutely right. God is love, and where would we be without it? So something I just wanted to share too is that this particular, Corinthians was written by Paul to Corinth. And if Corinth hadn't been walking out their, they had been walking out their calling, but Paul wouldn't have needed to write admonishment to them about this, because he was saying, look, your responsibility is to love as Christ loved us. And they weren't doing very well at that. So he had to send them a little admonishment. So that's kind of the history on this chapter. And, love is a willingness to compromise. It's creating peace and unity. And it's the most important thing that God called us to do above all other things. Because if you don't have love, then it means nothing if you're not motivated by love. That's kind of my opinion. What about you, baby?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, that God is love. And, we posed this question this morning and I thought about it. It's like, okay, yeah, love is a thought. It's an emotion, like Scott said. But then I was like, okay, well, how do I prove that, or how do I show that? And then I think that there's action involved with it as well. if I get challenged by one of God's children, and how do I reach them? I can say that I love you, but then to me I have to take it further, and can I demonstrate it in a way that might be receivable? Like if we're at church and we're singing a song when we're in choir, if we're singing, then we know that that's one way of reaching people through song. Other resources are just being kind, reach out, just a simple gesture of maybe shaking somebody's hand or introducing, showing yourself friendly, which is things I have to do, show myself friendly, because I think I'm an introvert, and to walk up to somebody and introduce myself isn't first nature. And I can smile and like wave, but to walk up to you, hey Scott, what's going on? My name is Jeff. Unless I'm just full of the Holy Spirit that day, it probably wouldn't be one that I would do. But when I first joined New Group and stuff, I had to get in. Well, yeah, New City. I had to practice these ministries, these things that I would normally do, to stand at the door and greet people, because I don't really like to smile. And, people was like, okay, maybe you can do this simple things like that, just to show what God's love has done to me, that if I'm reaching out to his children, these are just small acts of love that maybe show to somebody else, and, get me outside of myself. Because if it was just about Jeff wouldn't, just take my introvert self to be extrovert. So, it's, to me, love is everything. Love is, how would I love someone as God loves me, was what I try to remember.
Yeah.
Miss Margaret says, this series has shown me that there are so many different ways that people define love, as individuals as well as couples. And Mark says,
I have to start saying I love him, her, through gritted teeth. You do it because you're connecting with the Father when you do that. Yes. You then remind yourself why you love them. Correct.
Really good.
And Dr. Aaron says, he who does not love does not know God, for God is love.
Amen. Amen. That is very true.
So right. I was also thinking, if we don't know God, I don't know if we know how to love. I guess I don't know.
That's true.
A question.
That's true. There are some, sorry.
Go ahead.
When you said that, if we don't know God, we don't know how to love. There are people that don't know what love is. They don't know what love looks like. We had some guests on several weeks ago that are missionaries in Taiwan, and they commented that marriages there are very transactional marriages. It's okay, I'll marry this person, but what do I get out of it? Or what does my family get out of it? And they don't believe in love. They believe that love is a Western thing. And the Westerners are the ones that make all the movies about love, and love's not real to them. So that is very true. And there's people here in the United States that I think don't know what love is, So
well, yeah, when you look at the movie like way of that they show love, like it's just this very like Hallmark, or it's not realistic in a lot of ways. It's like, if you look at like the actual like Western culture, I don't think that you could say that love does exist. But when you really like look at it like, God is love, starting there, then everything else makes sense.
mm-hmm.
Able to actually, on those days where it's hard to love, it's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna throw up my hands and like not love the person. It's like you actually have to, okay, We have to fight through this.
Yeah. Dr. Aaron says,
If someone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? 1 John 4:20.
you know, yeah, First John is a really good chapter um, to talk about love, you know, walk you through love and what you should and should not do.
Mhm.
So
I had told Calista this week I was correcting my son Jay about something, and it was kind of frustrating because for me, because we keep trying to get him to do something, you know, pick up his food, take it to the kitchen when he's done with it. And I don't know if he's trying to break us or we're trying to break him, and it gets to be a struggle sometimes. And, you know, I was just irritated at that point. And, you know, then what always brings me back is that, and I've thought about this since he's came into our life, is that every time I'm trying to correct him, I immediately come back to, okay, well, God is trying to correct me in a certain area of my life. So, you know, I have to be like, okay, let's give him a little grace here, but still give him the discipline because I need discipline in my life. So, you know, it brings me back to, you know, I have to be willing to be corrected, but do it in a manner that is still loving. Because no matter what I do, I know my God loves me. So, you know, it makes me want to just get on my knees and say, thank you, God, but help me get him to be where, you know, he needs to be. Because it's a struggle. You're right. I want to throw up my hands, but I don't think God is throwing up his hand when I go through the same stuff all of the time. So,
Right.
you know, he could, but he doesn't, you know, he just allows me to be there. And then when I get tired of being there and truly want to be rid of that situation, then he provides the tools that I need in order to do it.
Mhm.
But I got that free will, and as soon as I take it back, okay, well, go ahead, see where that gets you this time.
Right.
here's our second question.
What does it mean for love to suffer long and to be kind? Give a personal example. You want to go first?
Well, for me, love to suffer long is, you know, well, an example for us is like for us taking care of Ada, you know, sometimes I start to feel like, gosh, this is a burden. And then I have to check myself, just like Jeff said, you know, our God doesn't treat us like we're a burden. So far be it for me to treat her that way, you know, and I think long suffering just means that you go through it with that person and you don't resent going through that, which is difficult at times, but you know, because we've got all kinds of things that happen and things change with her frequently, and sometimes you're running along on the schedule and all of a sudden something changes and you run into, oh, well, this is happening. Oh, it happened again. Oh, okay, this happened again. And then it dawns on me, hey, something has changed with her, so now I need to adjust you know, how I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing with her. But for me, that's what long suffering is. It's kind of like you're going through it with that person without resentment. So
I agree. It is that when you're in love with someone, you know, spouse, parent, brother, sister, child, you know, even a neighbor, you know, we go through these things. I go through these things, and, you know, to not give up. And then how can I be like a better example? And especially with my mom, it's been difficult, but it's also I think brought me more love. I think the biggest thing for me, I still love my mom. I know her body is there and mentally she is not, but I know that she was at one point and what all she's done for me. And so, that's why I'm here, especially with my wife in this, situation with her. So it is long suffering, but she's my mother. She's one of God's children as well. And I know she knows the Lord because, she introduced me, dragging me to church when I didn't want to go, and, got introduced to Christ. I think we as parents, in that generation that I grew up in, you didn't have a choice. You got up and your mom took you, your dad took you. They might be arguing in the car, but we still going to church and stuff. And just introduced me to Christ. And I'm grateful for that. And it took me a while to get there. But once I accepted him, things they've been in the, good. We've had some bad times, but, I think that, like I said, what Jesus did for us, took his cross to Calvary and, loved us enough to endure that. So,
Amen. So Miss Margaret says children and others can learn to walk in love or not by seeing our example. Yeah.
Good.
You take your stuff to the kitchen? He says, I'm not even going to answer that.
Go there right now. So, when we get off of this.
So what do you guys think? What does long suffering and kind mean to you?
We took it as like it means like a lot of patience throughout the entire marriage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like some days you just want to do things your way and you can't just do it your way. You're more of a team, and it does take a lot of patience. For example, I'm not a morning person at all. I don't perspire to be. I don't want to be. So like
Me either.
my husband, he knows like he's got to give me like 5 minutes before he just speaks to me, because it's just like I'm not a person who just wakes up and I have a smile and I just want to talk to people. I want to wake up. I want to make sure I don't have a migraine for one, and then I just want to make sure I can actually get my day going. So he's like had a lot of patience with that, and there's just so much patience, and just like how Jeff was saying, like Jesus doesn't do that to us. It's like I can't just do that to my husband. Like he was saying, I chose to love him. So just one day it's like, oh, he's on my nerve, I'm walking out of here. You can't do that. So you may want to, but you can't. So.
That's right. That brings me back to the question that is love enough to save a marriage? I think that love is enough to save a marriage if we are defining and walking out love as God loves us.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean you're not going to go through trials. But I think it also involves a little bit of commitment, because like we said earlier, you have to be committed to the God that you made that contract with to love that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it takes a little bit of commitment, which sometimes I think in this day and age is kind of it's flailing a bit,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you see in our society today, it's just so much like this or that, like just instant gratification. Like, you can pick up your phone and order something like right away. And that's like just kind of how our society has become more and more like, where we just want this instant gratification. And if we're thinking through that through the lens of love, like we're not going to get love if we're wanting just instant gratification for things. If we just want like constantly things to go my way, or things to just be settled like right away. Like, I mean, it says here like long suffering. Like long and suffering doesn't always sound good together. You put that in together, like, oh, that's supposed to be love. Like, how does that tie in together? But when you really think on it, like I'm called to be with this person for a long time, like forever, and it's not always going to be good. There's going to be some suffering in it, and I think
Yeah.
that we have to just be honest and open to ourselves and like recognize that, because the more that we recognize that and like get away from a fairy tale picture of what love is, then we're able to actually like grow together.
Yeah. The Mark says long suffering is it will put up with a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
It's very true. And then Dr. Margaret says, do you think that a blended family can be especially challenging to show love because of other family influences? That's kind of, I feel like you guys' question, because you've got your daughter, and
Yeah.
does she have other influences that make it challenging?
So I think in the beginning, it was a little tough because our parents the only reason that our families are blended is because my parents have always adopted, but my parents have always been together. So she's seen love as like, that way. That's all she's seen. And then she also knows that, she can still love her dad and her mom, but we're not together.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what helped out a lot for us is we all get along and we just do it the same way at every house. So, what is it now that she does? She's kind of like Jay. She doesn't want to put her stuff away after dinner either, and she'll argue with me about it. And so it's like, okay, well then, no tablet. And so we tell her dad, and they'll do that too. And it's just like yesterday, everybody had to work for some odd reason when it's time to pick her up for school. So her father's girlfriend, she picked her up, and she's completely okay with that because she knows we just all work as a team. So I just think everybody's on one accord. It helps out a lot. So
That's really good. You're very fortunate to have that, because there are some people that just have, craziness going on with their ex person, and
I think
so you
it
guys
takes
are
a
really
lot of
fortunate.
praying and maturity to get there, because in the
Right.
beginning, I don't think anybody's there. So I'm not going to lie. Every one of us will tell you we were not there. So I just think it just takes, we had to realize like it's not about us, it's about her. What makes her happy. We don't want her to feel depressed, or when she goes to school, she's embarrassed. Like, oh, I have two dads that pick me up. We don't want it to be that way. We want her to be happy about it. She's like,
Right.
I have like 3 families, so I get like more Christmas gifts. So it's
Right.
to her. So
I am blessed. Yeah.
Right.
Good. Yeah. That is fantastic.
Yeah. You have a lot of opportunities to show what love like really looks like to that. Because it can be more of a challenge, but that doesn't mean that it's like, oh, this is like a bad challenge. Just like these are opportunities that we get to see, and like it's gonna be awesome to see what Maya learns from this, like from her mom and her dad though might not be together. She knows that like they really have worked together to be able to make sure that Maya is good, and make sure that they have good family dynamics. So the same with my relationship with him, like I want to support him as much as I can. He says the same thing about me. He's like, hey, I'm glad that you guys are doing good and all that stuff. So yeah, it's important definitely for the kiddos, for them to see that, because they get to actually see, oh, that's like another aspect of long suffering too. Like it's tough to love when like there are hard things that you're going through, but still choosing like, okay, if we see the bigger picture, it's important.
Yeah. Dr. Aaron says, children can be pretty patient with us as well. They adapt to broken promises and forgive bad behaviors.
Yep.
That is true. They are pretty fluent,
I almost feel like sometimes she's more patient than both of us, because if she like gets tired of us, if we just have one disagreement on something, I will never forget like this. She was in the car and she's like, just stop it. Those are acts of the devil. God does not like that. Like she would literally, remind us whew, wait a minute. It's like, by the way, we did a really great job raising her in the word. And then
Right.
now that we have done that, we need to follow through ourselves. So it's like, you know, she's very patient. She's a little mini counselor already.
Yes,
Well, amen. You know, and hey, we all know kids can preach, you know.
Yeah,
they sure
I sure
can.
can.
I know that reminds me. We were coming home from, I think, visiting Calista's dad, and Jay was in the back seat, and I didn't think he was paying attention to what me and Calista was debating about. I'm going to say debating about at that time, and Jay and his vocabulary. It's amazing how kids can pick up on a word and use it correctly. And he was like, Dad, if you do such and such in a different way, then maybe she can hear it. And I'm like, okay. I didn't have a comeback for that because he was correct. And what do I say? I just kept quiet because he was right. Later it's like, Jay, you was right. And thank you for, sharing that. And that he wasn't hesitant about sharing it. And that's, I think, the biggest thing we're trying to instill is that, you have a voice, and you can speak it down, but, if you do it in a derogatory way, there's going to be consequences. So, yeah, the tablet thing, we go through that as well. Well, if you're not going to do it, give me the tablet. Okay, here. And then I have to come up with something different, with him, because it's like, okay, this is what I think the icebreaker would be. And, when he changes that and gets in his mood, then, okay, what else can I take from him? Oh, I'll take Sony from him.
Nintendo.
Yeah, the Nintendo. Take something, but it's, like I said, when we're going through that, it's just, I'm just grateful that we have God in our life and instructing it with him as well. So that's another helpful example.
Yeah. What does it mean? Wait, we're at our time here, but I want to cover this question in particular. What does it mean for love to not parade itself or be puffed up? Jeff, do you want to work on that one?
Well, I thought about this morning, and do you guys have a few more minutes? If you have to go, we can, want to impose on your time.
Oh, I like this question, so I'm excited to answer it. So, yeah.
Okay. I thought about this one this morning. I was like, what does it mean to be love is puffed up and not envious? I was sharing with Calista yesterday. I was going to the store, and we used to have a Chevy Impala, and we got rid of it. And then I was going to the store, and I stopped at a red light, and I seen a car that we exactly had, and immediately I was like, I wish I still had my car. But then I thought about all of the reasons that led us not to have it and stuff, and it's like, well, I can't be envious of this person because they're maintaining it. And then I thought of an example of somebody I know that wanted to do something for their job, and they posed an example out to, or something that they could improve on, and they got turned down and immediately got resentful about that. So I think that's when it gets envious, when someone says no to you, and then get envious or jealous or upset, temperamental.
Yeah, I think that happens at church a lot too.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been there. I suggested something at church, and it kind of got turned down and got my feelings hurt. And so, I mean, I feel like, and I know I'm not the only one, and it's hard because there are so many people with so many of their own ideas about, what the church should look like or what their job should look like, that they can't all be implemented. There's just no way. So I think that's when we have to take a look at, hey, am I, was I in my own
Head?
Yeah, was I in my own head, and am I actually doing God's work here? am I letting this go? Am I not getting puffed up about this? You know, am I not taking my own, I can't think of the word. It's escaped me right now, but
Like, are you doing it for the?
my,
I was thinking, if I post something and then it gets turned down, if I get mad or envious, was I doing that for the right reason? And maybe because it isn't being done right now, doesn't mean that God can't do that at a later date. You know, if my head is, if I post something and think it's a grandiose idea and it gets turned down, then maybe it was just because I wanted to be puffed up, and that was the reason why, you know, maybe not the reason why it gets turned down. It's just maybe it wasn't the right time, you know. And in my head, I have to look at that. Well, it's a good idea, but maybe God can't use that at this moment, but he can if the motives are right.
Yeah.
So
ego. That's what I was looking
when
for.
ego
You know?
gets in, then it gets out of hand.
What do you guys think?
Can we see the question just one more time? I want to make sure we're doing the right one. Sorry.
Oops. There you go.
What does it mean for love to not parade itself or be puffed up?
I can go. There you go.
So we were thinking of for like love parading itself. It's like love because of, you know, your heart is something you want to do, and not for like because people think it's cool. So I'm thinking for the parade, like people like on social media, I see all the time people only post like when their marriage is doing well. Like they never, which is not our business. You know, you're not supposed to share that, but you know they have share a night of, you know, them going out and celebrating, looking all good. So people think those are like what they say nowadays goals. And it's like, that's not what it's about. Like if you follow that person and you just think that's what it's about, like, oh, they always have the nicest car. Oh, they just have a nice house. Oh, this person's doing this at his job. This person's doing that. It's like, you really don't know where they came from, because with us, you know, it took us a while to get, you know, to where we were. We had, before we even got married, we had, because we didn't have that much time, you know, we had to do the marriage. We planned out the, you know, what are we going to do about cars? You know, what are we going to do about jobs? What are we going to do about a house? And like for me, I've always been a busy worker, want to stay busy. I have this thing where I think we're going to retire by 40, 45.
I like it.
It's going to work out. So, you know, and then I had to realize, you know, like I'm a wife now, I have more help, you know, he wants to work more. He wants to, you know, have that time. So I need to be, you know, taking off more work so I can do more things at the house. And, you know, it's not what people make it seem like it is. Like you see the busy family, they always make things work, going to the kids' games, you know, practices, performances, but it's just really not, you know, what the media makes it look. So.
Yeah, I love that answer because, I think I see it as, you know, that puffed up being like, and I'm going to get really long into this one book that I love, but by Timothy Keller, and he like was speaking on identity. And he says that one thing that we can do in our identity is we're constantly seeking approval of others, and how that's like, you know, our identity getting puffed up, like it being overextended than what it should. You know, it's like a balloon that's about on like the verge to pop. And like, I mean, our identity should never be, you know, that we're constantly seeking approval from others. And that's the same thing for love. It's like, we shouldn't be constantly seeking approval for others, because like at the end of the day, we have to be honest with ourselves. Like you said, it can be a challenge. It's tough. And I think that if we are just putting out the like, oh, our family's always going to this thing or doing this, that, or that. Not that there's anything like wrong with like posting those things on Facebook. I think everyone loves like posting those highlights. But if we get so like consumed by that, and by like putting out this picture of, and not just a Facebook picture, but like to the whole world, like if we're just putting out this whole, like, this is what we are, what we're about, we're perfect, we're this perfect family that doesn't have any problems, and that is overextending our identity and what we should be called to do.
Yeah, that's something that I don't have a challenge with. I mean, to me, I am who I am. We have problems. I'll share it with the people that I feel are going to walk in love as I share that, but I'm an open book most of the time. Jeff is a little bit different. Sometimes he'll say, "Why are you sharing my business?" But
it's that introvert, I'd say.
yeah, it's just that that's the way I am. I'm kind of an open book, So I want to kind of sum this up by a little comment that during this series, because this is the last one of our series, that I heard, and that was pretend that you're on a beach soaking up the sun. No matter how many people are there is enough sun for everyone, right? So God's love and guidance is the same. There's enough love of God's love and guidance for all of us. And we just have to be willing to share it. So, all right. Well, with that, our time is up. Will you guys hold on for just a bit while I do the close, and we'll get back to you in just a moment?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, you guys.
Yes.
Thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Hang on. We'll be right back.
All right.
We had to travel the world of our past to realize it was harder before cause we weren't by each other's side. Maybe it took a little longer to know together we're stronger. That's the way our love survived. Now we've gone through the fire. Love will take us higher, higher than it was before we went through love and war. See the promised land, walking hand in